Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you why you actually have less risk of burning your own muscle on a fat loss diet if you are fasting and doing keto compared to having more frequent meals and higher carb meals. So I was having a conversation with a friend at the gym today, and basically a buddy of mine just started keto and he's enjoying the experience, but he's afraid of muscle loss. And this is a very common topic. A lot of people are asking me for more videos on muscle loss and just theory as to why you won't be losing muscle on keto, or just to help people wrap their head around what actually does cause muscle loss. So the main idea running through my head right now is that the more frequent you're having meals, the more frequent you're spiking your insulin, okay? As far as fat loss concerns you, insulin is the fat storage hormone. Insulin gets rapidly increased from carb meals, but anytime you eat anything, you will secrete some sort of amount of insulin. It helps you flush nutrients into your muscles, and basically every time you eat anything, you're gonna release insulin, except for basically just pure fats in smaller quantities. So at the end of the day, you're going to release insulin at every meal. And the more frequent you're spiking your insulin, the more you basically shut off fat burning, okay? So you shut off fat burning. And every time you're in a fat burning state, right? I, again, have contrasted this with a keto metabolism and a carb metabolism. The keto metabolism is entirely fat metabolism. There is very minimal glucose metabolism in that state. When you are on a carb diet, your body's on a carb metabolism. So in that state, fat burning is only on when your insulin is low enough to facilitate that. So basically, if you're spiking your blood insulin or having frequent meal times, basically you're shutting off fat burning at multiple moments throughout the day. So if you have 5 meals throughout the day, spaced out within 2 hours of each other, there's not much fat burning going on. And when you're in the fat burning state is actually when you're less likely to burn muscle, because I always say to people, it's easier to wrap your head around it if you think about it this way. When your body's burning fat, it's not trying to burn other sources of fuel. Okay, when you're in a fat metabolism or a keto metabolism, your body will only really use protein for gluconeogenesis, which is the turning protein into carbs, for the small amount that it needs to put into your muscles. So basically, that protein's only going to come from protein that you eat, okay? So basically, if you eat adequate protein, you're fine, okay? If you're not eating adequate protein, the deeper you're into ketosis, the less likely it is you're going to burn your own muscle. However, if you're not eating enough protein and you have carbs in place and you're spiking your insulin at several times throughout the day, even if you're cramming that into a fasting window, you would be better off to go to keto macros, because you need your body to be in the fat burning state. If you're on a carb metabolism and you're not getting enough protein, here's what's going to happen. Basically, once your calories are low and you keep spiking that insulin, when your insulin isn't low enough to get into fat burning, your body's basically going to recruit some of its own muscle for fuel, because what it's going to say is your body isn't in the fat burning state. So it's going to want to use more carbs. And where can it get more carbs? From gluconeogenesis, which is creating carbs through protein. So basically, you might force the supply of gluconeogenesis from a carb metabolism where there's not enough protein, because what's going to happen is, in the event that you are on a calorie diet, right, like any fat loss diet, and you don't have enough protein and you're on a carb metabolism, your body will start to want to get more carbs. Okay, if you're on carbs, it wants more carbs. If you're using fat, it'll want more fat. And guess what? It has an endless supply of fat that you're trying to burn through. So if you are, again, not getting enough protein, that's much more of a risk on a carb metabolism. With a fat metabolism, your body isn't going to want to change protein to fat. It's going to want to just use the endless amounts of fat it has on itself, and it'll stick in fat burning mode, okay? Presuming that your insulin is not being spiked with frequent meals. Okay, the more you can cram your meals into a shorter eating window, the deeper that fat burning mode is going to be throughout the day. and basically you're going to have one bigger insulin response opposed to several peaks of insulin responses. Okay, so that's something you have to wrap your head around here in order to understand what's going to drive muscle loss. Of course, not enough protein is always a risk, but if you're deep in ketosis, your body is always sparing protein, because ketosis means that you're running on ketones and fat. Okay, that's what ketosis means. So if you're running on ketones and fat, you're not running on protein. You're running on a small amount of protein for gluconeogenesis, but generally your body's going to take a small amount every single day, and if you eat more than 50 grams of protein a day, you're basically covered. Your protein requirement is lower with ketosis because your body's running on fat. It can get fat, it has an abundance of fat, so your requirement of energy for protein is much lower. Okay, with carbohydrates, your requirement for protein is higher in the context of a fat loss diet. Okay, again, because of those frequent insulin spikes and because of when fat burning is going to be occurring. Okay, so hopefully this video gave you some clarity. Again, it's just a theoretical video based on muscle loss, and just to help you understand what drives muscle loss, what kickstarts it, again, that lowered insulin, and maybe it'll persuade you to explore more of the ketogenic diet options. But at the end of the day, even if you're not going to go that route, it would be wiser for you to get shorter eating windows. Okay, if you're not spiking your insulin at every meal, that's even just a good takeaway for you to have, especially if you're trying to just do any fat loss diet and just keep your muscle. A lot of people will do prolonged fasting, and the longer your fast goes, the deeper you'll be in ketosis, even if you're not eating keto macros. So deeper ketosis means more muscle preservation and higher fat burn. It's a double-edged sword, double whammy, right? Exactly the both of the things you want. You want more fat burning and more muscle preservation, and that's what ketosis does. It's a preservation state. It's not a starvation mode, it's a preservation mode. So thank you for watching. If you want a free keto meal plan, free training plan, both those in the description. I also have a Facebook group you can join and share your keto experiences with people and other bodybuilding and fitness experiences. And beyond that, I'm going to have online coaching up and running very soon, so I can work with you one-on-one and help each of you reach your goals on a very personal level. Okay, I'm trying to bring a new element of coaching to this whole online coaching game. Basically, I want to be there at arm's reach all the time, and that's what I'm going to be offering. So more explanation on that in the future, but for now, thank you for watching this video. And beyond that, if you learned anything, subscribe to me right now. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.